Alright, you guys. What is going on? What's going on, good looking? How you doing? Pan Scale Turtle Chef. Welcome, welcome. Everyone else, whoever's here or not, welcome. We got a lot of spice to talk about today. These are all the characters. This motherfucker. But we are looking at, maybe, if I had to say, my, God, I feel like that this tier list is going to end up being one of the more, I don't want to say divisive ones. Last month's apparently was the most divisive one. But I think this tier list might have the most shakeup out of all the other tiers. Not so much in like the D and C tier, the B, maybe the B tier a little bit. But I think it's safe to say pretty much if you were in like the B to D range, you're probably safe. But if you're like the A to S plus range, wild meta shakeups. Wild shakeups. Where's the red and black suited God personal tier? I was thinking about just giving him his own tier for the season, but I didn't want to make this thing too big because then you wouldn't be able to see it all on the screen. But Kumo is going to be the top of the top. Melee, cut to the chase, just for Kumo, S plus base and everything. That's okay, yeah. That's actually a really good point, Zap. That's exactly what I was going to do. So we're going to start with Kumo and we're going to end with Kamen Rider. So off the rip, Kumo Augment is the best. This is just like, it's not even up for debate. Kumo Augment is by far the best character this season, period, end of story. We all can see it. It's a huge colossal pain in the ass. Tons of mid-game players are leaving and are just not wanting to play this season while Kumo has the rented levels. Tons of the top players have him at like such a high level. And it's insane. Between the combination of Kumo being so oppressive and the top players grinding constantly for the golden Goji skin, people are just leaving the game, right? Kumo Augment, I don't really think I need to explain to you guys who are here right now what he does. However, for whatever reason, if a player from the future has joined the game and maybe Kumo has been nerfed and they're just looking back at old tier lists for whatever reason, let me break it down for you. Kumo has, what is his attack speed? It's like 3.2 seconds, right? I'm going to pull up my game just to make sure. Kumo Augment has like a 3-second attack speed, 3.2 second attack speed or something like that. And he has an incredibly wide net that he casts. He basically has Godzilla Ultima's leader ability range as a unit. He hits 3 times for a little bit of damage, but he stuns with a 3.2 second attack or whatever it is. He basically just stun locks the entire field. He's making certain units either unusable or close to it. G89 is getting absolutely murked. GMK is getting murked. G21 actually is unusable this season. Anything that has like a weird detection, if they get stunned, like G21, are out. Battra is pretty much out this season, right? So there's a lot of shakeups. Kumo Augment is basically just coming in. He's 3 cost. I got his attack up right now. I'm gonna look at it. He's got a 3.2 second attack. He stuns for 0.3 seconds. He's just incredibly overpowered. He's by far the most oppressive character that we've ever had come to the game, like off the rip. And I say that because of the new rented level system, where before he would have been fixed at level 16. Now if you have yours at, you know, my Kumo is level 14, so my rented level is 29. Something like that, 28 or 29. So he just gets more powerful as you're going up. Same with Kamen Rider, that's just going to be how it is, you know, however long. But man, he's incredibly oppressive this season. So we literally this season have to base everything off of how well it deals specifically with Kumo being on the enemy team, because he's everywhere. He's everywhere. He's meta defining. If you don't have him, you either have to have incredibly high units, like levels, or you have to be very skilled. So we're gonna have, you know, Ultraman is getting moved up, Earth is getting moved up, Battra I think is gonna get moved down, so we'll talk about him in a second. But I guess we'll start at the beginning, where we always start. Obviously the premier counter to the Kumo Augment is the bombers, okay, or not the bombers, the choppers. So The choppers, you put them on the field for 5 energy, you get like 7 or 8 choppers, and they're going to just stroll up to Kumo, and they're going to die. And this is exactly what you want, because for 5 energy, you're just going to keep that Kumo at bay, so you could use something like Godzilla Earth later. So obviously, that's a joke, and it's going to the D tier, because what does D mean? D means it sucks dick, alright? This is just the worst thing here. It just sucks, and it's just dog shit. So this sucks, and it's dog shit. D for dog shit tier, alright? This is terrible. I do not like it. This sucks. Sucks. I gotta re-chat. I just hope Toho knows better and doesn't opt to buff Kumo. Also, hoping you've come to your senses and are placing Bomber in S tier. The Kumo common combo is wild. Greater than Ultraman, just laugh. Use GMK skill issue. Become the spider. Spiders usually gotta add the Fortnite scar to GBL. Kumo said $100 under the table to put him in the C tier so Toho buffs him. Listen, I am subscribing to the theory that... Toho will continue to just buff characters and just do massive, massive power creep going forward. But I think Kumo is an exception. I know I messaged them about how overpowered he is. I know a lot of top players messaged him, and a few, mid to lower range players also told me that they messaged him. I'm being told that the player number is dropping this season, that a lot of people are just opting out, whether it's because they don't want to keep fighting Kumo or they don't want to have to deal with another collab. I have a feeling there's just too many factors for him to go untouched. I don't, if they nerf him, maybe they don't nerf him in this following season, but maybe the season after. I just can't believe that he'll stay the same forever. And if they do, then we'll just get massive power creep, and it's just going to be ridiculous. But Anguirus is going to be in the A tier. Anguirus' place in the meta hasn't really changed at all. He's a fine option. He's great. The 5-cost Kumo, and he's deader than the Queen of England. I think they'll buff the cost of Kumo. I don't think they'll change anything else. I think they'll make him a 4 or 5 cost. It's just too easy to get him on the field. That's the problem. The problem is not his kit. His kit is fine, and he's manageable. It's just that he can constantly be on the field because he costs so little. That's the problem. Like, how is he a 3, but Mephiles is a 6, right? It doesn't make any sense. He should be the 6. Mephiles should be the 3. Keep the stats the same, switch the cost, right? It says, Engi can't really be played against Kumo, makes it to where he can't attack. Yeah, so Anguirus can't really do a ton to Kumo. He's a great body, and if he grabs Kumo aggro, though, he can take a lot of punishment from Kumo, which gives you time to counterattack. So he's not going to drop into the B tier, but I certainly don't think he's at the top of A this season, but he's still mid to high A, purely because he's going to provide you with a lot of defense against Kumo Augment. That's just how it's going to go. All these characters are pretty much getting judged up against Kumo, right, this season, because it's just insanely oppressive. I mean, some of them are really good in their own right, regardless, and we'll touch on that when we get there, but Anguirus is pretty good. So he's always been pretty good. Pretty reliable, at least for the last year, right? Pretty much since last February or March, whenever he got those adjustments to make him how he is now, he's been pretty fire. Battra. So Battra traditionally is S+ tier. This season, I'm gonna put Battra into the... I almost want to put Battra into the A tier. I almost don't even want to put Battra in the S tier this season. Because Battra is still good. Battra is still fine. The problem with Battra, we can debate this, because I'd be willing to move him to high A and not S. But I think maybe the bottom of S is fine. Battra, Pan said it right, Battra has completely disappeared. Because you're not really grouping your characters together this season for a big push. Because Kumo's going to stun them all. And he's not really coming hard. Oh my god, that's gonna get clipped. He's not really a very difficult challenge for the leaders now, because a lot of people this season specifically are running Kamen Rider Leader, and Kamen Rider Leader basically doesn't let most of the flyers hit. Battra's not really hitting Kamen Rider Leader. Battra's gonna show up to Kamen Rider Leader. He's gonna get one hit off, and the Kamen Rider is just gonna push him away. And I feel like we usually don't talk about leader interactions when we do the tier lists. However, the Kamen Rider Leader being able to push away the flyers has been extremely detrimental to the flyer meta. Whereas over the last year, they've been extremely dominant, and then over the last few months, Toho has introduced more and more counters to the flyers. Fourth Angel, the explosion is really not a direct counter, but is good enough. Mechagodzilla's ability is not amazing, but it will make them down, so that's fine. GMK specifically is like a Battra counter, right? Like that's 100% what he is. So they were already getting phased out of the meta, but Kumo being able to stun them. I mean, Kumo stuns Leo out of the rush, you guys. Like that's crazy, right? So Battra, I think, is just going to go in the high A. He's almost completely disappeared from the meta, like period. End of story. Battra is like out of the meta. Not because people don't want that damage boost, right? But because there's just, now you have to deal with, your flyers aren't really going to be able to be used against the enemy leader. And the buff is fine, right? But it's not like totally crazy. So Kumo counters the air units almost across the board, and Kamen Rider leader makes them in a push against the leader. If Kamen Rider is attacking the air units, they'll not really be able to do anything. But if you're like in a push and the enemy Kamen Rider is fighting like your Kamacuras, your Earth or something like that, then your flyers are going to do damage. But all of the flyers are taking a major hit this season. Battra more than most, so that means his larva is going in the B tier because he's still good for the buff. I mean, both of them are still phenomenal characters for the buff and for their stats, but just based on Kumo and Kamen Rider, they just have to move down. Maybe next season we see them come back. Everyone's Kumos are going to be a lot weaker next season. Everyone's Kamen Rider leaders are going to be a lot weaker this season for the most part next season. So we're just going to have to wait and see. Maybe the flyers come back into the meta, but I don't really foresee them this season making it into anything into the S tier, which is a big cry for Battra, because for the last year we've had Battra in the S tier. Biollante as well. Biollante has seen I went in the wrong spot. Has seen better days. This meta is destroying Biollante as well. She does perform decently in a push, but she's getting stun locked by Kumo. She's still great on like London or New York. Still an incredibly usable unit. She's definitely A tier. The flower form is going into like the closer to the bottom of B tier just because it's a guaranteed evolution pretty much. Battra is a little harder to get up, but Biollante is not seen on London, or I'm sorry, not seen on Tokyo anymore. Barely seen on New York. Mostly played on London, and even so, Kumo's just gonna like rock the shit out of her, right? So it is what it is. Still a decent unit, not like the best in the game. Is what it is. Obviously, Bomber is the counter to Kumo. He just goes right past it. Doesn't really care about Kumo. Then it goes to the enemy leader. Oh wait, I forgot. The the Kamen Rider leader basically makes the chopper or the bomber even worse than it was before. Because now the bomber can't even get a hit on the leader. So not only does it not hit anything on the field, it now cannot hit the leader. So that's a big L. I mean, it's going to hit everything but Kamen Rider leader, but guess what the meta is now this season? Kamen Rider leader. So this is where they stand. Burning Godzilla. Burning Godzilla is S+ this season. Now, you can fight me on this one. But the exploding units are still extremely viable. Extremely viable. They are some of the better counters to Kumo. Because they need to get pretty close to Kumo to hit, and they'll get close enough. And their explosions, Burning Godzilla, especially when he dies, there's a delay before he explodes. Guess who's walking into that explosion? Kumo. I've been using Burning this season. He's been pretty good. I don't think he's as... I'm not using him in my team right now, but he's still extremely viable. He's a really good counter to Kumo. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I move him to keep him in the top of S. He was S tier last season. I feel like for S+, there are other options, so we can come back to Burning Godzilla, but I still think he's extremely viable to go up against Kumo Augment. I think he's fine. Now, Destoroya. Destoroya was already low A. And I think I want to put Destoroya in B tier. Because he's just dead on arrival now between Kamen Rider and the stuns. Landstrike says, I actually agree about burning Godzilla. He's one of the best ways to hit multi-target when everyone is Kumo locked. 100% agree, plus hits hard in the 5% of each match when Kumo's not on the field. Desert Sword used now. Yeah. I love Destoroya. Destoroya is so hard to use. I mean, I haven't seen a single Destoroya, and I haven't seen a single King Ghidorah either this season, so I'm gonna move Destoroya into high B this season. You can feel free to debate me on that one. Listen, I'm not like super stuck in my beliefs this season with everything in like the A and the B tier. I think the D and the C tiers are roughly gonna remain the same. The S tier and the S plus tier, I think there's gonna obviously be some shakeups, but I'm willing to negotiate on the A and the B tiers because of the shakeup with the S and the S plus, that's gonna make the A and the B tiers a lot more hard fought for. So I'm moving Destoroya into the B. He's great. Like the stun on spawn is good. The pierce is good. He's not gonna do anything to the Kamen Rider leaders really, and he's not really gonna be able to help you with the Kumo augments, which is unfortunate. The Ghidorah brothers are incredibly hard to use. Now I will say, not as a meme, I actually am coming around to Destoroya. So I'm gonna put the aggregate form in C, because it's just alright. I'm going to put the flying form in B, and I'm going to make the executive decision and put the regular Destoroya in A. Here's my reasoning for the A. Destoroya has pretty decent stats. He's not the best. Destoroya is not the best. What I am a fan of is that when Destoroya dies, he drops the Destoroya larva. What the deal is now, Kumo Augment, in a push, Kumo Augment is going to kill the Destoroya. He's then going to move on to the next unit. If it's in a push, if it's Destoroya by itself, then this is not going to matter. But in a team fight and positioned correctly, Destoroya will go down and spawn the swarm. The swarm will kill Kumo Augment. And now with the lack of, I'm going to say, AoE from GMK, the swarms are a little bit more powerful. You still run into trouble with Fourth Angel. You still run into trouble with like Ultraman Earth or Burning Godzilla. But there is a lot less AoE on the field this season. It is mainly single target attackers and then Kumo. So as long as Kumo isn't on the field, to hit that spread, that AoE, your larvae are going to rip people apart. That's just how it is. Earth is gonna have a hard time targeting them all, because odds are he's not hitting them all in the same shot. He can maybe hit half of them or most of them. They're great for distracting single target attackers like Burning Godzilla, the Fourth Angel. A lot of people are using Super X this season. Gigan 04 is going to grab onto one of them, and then he's going to get through them pretty quickly because he has like a minor AoE, but they're going to do a lot of damage to him. Kumo isn't on the field. Did he forget he's at 3 cost? No, I know Kumo is pretty much always on the field, but what I'm saying is when there's that downtime, when there's no Kumo on the field, there's not really any AoE this season that you have to worry about that's active while characters are alive. The only AoEs you have to worry about are Kumos and on deaths from like the Fourth Angel and Burning Godzilla. So the fact that there's not a ton of rampant AoE on the field except for Kumo means that the swarms have a better shot of surviving. Now, I'm not advocating for the regular Destroyer Swarm. The regular Destroyer Swarm I don't think is worth the cost for what's happening. But because you get them as a bonus to regular Destroyer, that is what I think is viable. They made an entire tier list of members in your server. You're going to actually make it. I don't know what you're talking about. I've never seen a tier list of my server members, so I have no plans on making a tier list of my server members. It's not going to happen. So to be clear, I'm advocating for Destroyer Perfect Form. Okay? Because pretty good stats, pretty decent attack. On death, you get the swarms for free. The regular swarms, it's 5 energy for them to just die to Kumo. Not worth it. It was in general like all day yesterday. I don't really look in general, so I didn't see it. No one showed it to me either. No one tagged me in it, so I just didn't see it. Dimension Tide. Dimension Tide is S+ tier. Dimension Tide always has, or not always. Dimension Tide has been good since they brought the cost down to 4. Bringing characters into the explosions has always been viable. Bringing characters into Ultraman has been viable. Bringing characters into Earth has been viable. Bringing characters now with Dimension Tide into Kumo is like a huge benefit. Dimension Tide also can not, it doesn't stun Kumo Augment, but it like delays his attack. His characters aren't going to attack when they get pulled, which means you get the 1-over on the enemy Kumo. So if it's a Kumo versus Kumo and you Dimension Tide them, they can't attack for a little bit. You're going to basically stun lock them. Dimension Tide has all the same uses as it did prior, except now you can gather everyone into Kumo's attack and you can stun, basically like stun or like stall the other Kumos with it. Huge W. I forgot the name of it. Dimension Tide S+ tier, 100%. Dorats. Dorats are moving into the D tier this season. Normally I keep them in the B tier or the C tier. I'm putting the Dorats in the D tier. There's 3 of them. They're flyer, so they're gonna die immediately to Kamen Rider Leader, and Kumo's just gonna eat them alive, churn them out, eat them alive. I really like the Dorats, and I usually place them in the bottom of B tier. I'm not even putting them in C tier. I'm going straight to the D tier with them because Kumo doesn't even give them a chance to do anything. Almost all the flyers this season have taken a severe hit between not really being able to do anything to Kumo for the most part and dying immediately to Kamen Rider Leader. Next season, the Dorats will probably be back into like the low B, maybe high C. This season, just absolutely unusable. Completely unusable. Okay? Energy base is in B. I'm putting it at the bottom of B. A lot of people are running Dimension Tides. A lot of people are running Kiryus. A lot of people are running the trains this season. A lot more than normal because those things are also really good counters to the Kumo Augment. Okay? The energy base is... This is probably the season it's been the most vulnerable. Before this season, everyone was running like trains or Dimension Tide for like a specific purpose. Trains because they're playing Kiryu and they don't know how to win, so they use Absolute Zero Cannon and they trains you, or they trains you the whole match. Dimension Tide to pull things into the AoE because of the bomb squad. Kiryu just because they like Kiryu. But now specifically those 3, which are the main counters to the base, are being used specifically for Kumo. Now if the base shows up, it's like an extra charge. Like, oh, okay, I have the trains, I was going to use it on the enemy Kumo, but they dropped their base, I'm just going to use it on the base. So the base is in a lot rougher of a spot this season, but it's still like obviously extremely viable. Earth is very viable right now, so this is great for him. I'm leaving it kind of towards the bottom of B because I don't think it's like super helpful, and it's just going to get targeted immediately with the meta going on right now. But it's not the worst. It's never been the best. It's never been the worst. It's just like all right, and it's going to help you facilitate certain strategies. Shadow Foxy, what's going on? Lance Shark said Dorats are unusable. Yeah, that's right. All right, I got this one for you guys. This is a personal pick for me. I've been using Fire Rodan a lot this season, and I think he's a lot better than we give him credit for. Usually, I put Fire Rodan in the C tier. Last month we put it in the B tier. I'm gonna put the regular Rodan at the top of B this season. Okay, because the guaranteed evolution, that speed boost, is gonna be great. That speed boost is like the speed boost that he gives is going to be really good for trying to get you early advantage on Kumo Augment, trying to boost up your Mothra Leos, trying to boost up your Godzilla Earths, your Gigan 04s. Like, Fire Rodan pre-evolution is in a lot better of a spot now because of the synergies that he has with it. And I normally don't like to base characters rank in here off of other synergies with other characters, but it's undeniable the push that Fire Rodan has this season. And I'm also going to be moving this Fire Rodan. I feel that Fire Rodan is S tier. S+ this season. I really do feel that way because of the heal. Right? Fire Rodan First of all, Fire Rodan will beat Kumo Augment. It attacks faster than Kumo. It can take a lot of punishment. Great. Amazing in a push. Amazing in a push. I don't even care that Kamen Rider leader is attacking it, and Fire Rodan can hit the Kamen Rider leader, because you know what? Kamen Rider leader is going to get distracted hitting the Fire Rodan, and it's going to let my characters get a few free shots on the Fire Rodan, and then when Kamen Rider leader eventually kills Fire Rodan, guess what's getting healed? My entire push, and then I hit my Kamen Rider leader ability, then they can't do anything, my entire push heals up. It's big. Fire Rodan is unironically in an amazing spot this season because he can distract the Kamen Rider leader. He's going to beat most Kumo Augments in a 1v1. You know, Fire Rodan has been in the game almost since the beginning. He dropped into the game in like October of 2021. And he's really good. He has a lot of uses. Zip Zap, the Fire Rodan Defender, what are you saying? Personally, I think you should always look at Fire Rodan synergies due to him being a support unit where his whole point is to help the team. That's a very fair point. And that's like what I'm saying. Like, his heal is going to be so good for your team. You know, the Kumo Augment 1v1s always come down to whose Kumo Augment is obviously more powerful, right? But your Fire Rodan gets caught up in the mix. He's either going to help you kill that Kumo or he's healing your Kumo. Earth is being used everywhere. He's going to crank up Earth. He's going to crank up your leader. Fire Rodan is just in a really great spot, and you don't really need to even play him offensively. Like, if you're being attacked, if your leader's being attacked by another Kumo, like by a Kumo Augment, you just drop Fire Rodan into the line of fire, and he'll attack Kumo, and then if he dies, but he's going to heal you for a ridiculous amount. So, based on the heal alone, Fire Rodan is in an amazing spot this season. Just for sure, hands down. I think Fire Rodan is in the S+ tier this season, purely because of that. I think there are, I think there's going to be one other character in the S+ tier, and then I think there's going to be a few more in the S tier, obviously. But I think Fire Rodan is in a really, really good spot this season. That heal is phenomenal. The attack, you know, speed of him is phenomenal, and then the speed boost he gives is also really good, and that's going to help you get advantage on the field, because the midfield right now this season is super toxic. Kumo, the explosions, so trying to get there first and push towards their leader first, that's what you want. Sunday is seeing virtually no play this season. I almost want to throw it in the D tier. People at the beginning of the season are trying to use it to counter Kumo Augment, and it kind of works. It's dropped off a ton since the Gigan freeze doesn't work anymore. The permanent stun, if the Gigan permanent stun still was available, this would probably be an S+. It's not anymore, so there's really no reason to run the Sunday. Now, this hurts me the most. But Giant Octopus, this is the first season I'm putting Giant Octopus in D tier. Bias aside, I do believe Giant Octopus is a C, right? But his cost is great, but his attack range is so low, and he travels so slowly that Kumo Augment is just, he's never going to touch Kumo. He's never going to be able to touch your enemy push. Even if he's in the water and he's getting the slows off, he's just not going to be doing enough. He was pretty much unusable before. Now it doesn't even matter that he has the best slow in the game. He actually is like unusable. Yeah, but he's tanking for Kumo. Oh yeah, he's tanking for Kumo. He's going to be so close to you that you're going to get a ton of hits. Just guy can boost the Octopus. Oh, that's valid. I forgot you could do that. But he's D tier. I think the Giant Octopus is out of C for as long as Kumo's around. Gigan 04 is S+ tier, hands down the best 1v1 counter to Kumo other than Girth and Ultraman, who have higher energy costs. I agree. Gigan 04 is an S+ tier. Gigan 04, if you've been watching this channel for a long time, you can see on all the tier lists, Gigan 04 is steadily rising to the top. And he's here. Man, even if Kumo Augment wasn't here, probably would put Final Wars Gigan in the top. He's one more cost than Kumo Augment. He can detect Kumo Augment from super far away. He'll grapple him and stun. He'll take aggro, and he attacks. His attack speed is like 1.4 seconds. Phenomenal character. Mine's only level 16. Not a very high level for a 4-star, right? A lot of mine are in the 20s now. He's not. He's level 16, and he's ripping level 30 Kumos apart. So not only is he just a good counter for Kumo, He's going to rip up leaders. He's going to rip up any tanks, Anguirus, G89s. He's going to lose to them, but he's going to do a ton of damage and keep them occupied. He can stun from super long range away. He's amazing in the team fight. He's really great as a final endgame push. I'm a big fan of Gigan 04. He's phenomenal on all accounts, and he has been for a long time. And specifically now, he's incredible for dealing with Kamen Rider leaders. I'm sorry, I meant Kumo Augments, but he also is really good for dealing with Kamen Rider leaders because he's going to stun them for a little bit too. And Kamen Rider leaders attack twice. He's just so good. Final Wars Gigan is I think, even though we have units that are immune like Earth and Ultraman, I think that Gigan is the premier Kumo Augment counter. I'm not talking about Kumo on Kumo violence, right? I think that Gigan 04 is the premier counter. So actually, let me rearrange this. I'm gonna put it like this. I think this is like the definitive top lineup this season, hands down. This is probably like, I think I'm gonna put one more in the S plus this season. I think I'm gonna put one more in there, but this is what I'm looking at. I think it's pretty good. Now regular Gigan, I'll put regular Gigan in the C tier. I think that with all of the Kumo nonsense going on, I think that this Gigan is performing a little bit better than normal because people want to push Kumo Augment, Fourth Angel. They basically, you're trying to just push your characters up the field. No one is really using Gigan for his regular attack. You're basically trying to rush the Fourth Angel to your opponent and trying to get like some easy wins. I don't really think that Gigan is very good. I think him and the Bomber are extremely similar, but Gigan does more damage and he has more health than Bomber. And the Bomber is not moving things out of the way. The Bomber moves out of the way for flying units. He goes around flying units. Gigan will push ground units forward. So Fourth Angel, G89, Anguirus, Burning Godzilla, Kumo Augment, Kamen Rider, whatever's in front of this Gigan is getting pushed forward. He's getting stopped a lot with Kumo Augments. Obviously, Kumo's countering like everything. But it's a rush tactic that works. So it's being used for quick, easy like leader damage. It's definitely hit me a few times. So it's not terrible this season. I'm moving him up. Now, I feel like some of you might crucify me for this, but I think the smart players are going to recognize this. Normally, G21 comes around somewhere in here, the middle of B. G21 is in the D tier this season. G21 is actually unusable this season. Okay? Kumo Augment stun is everywhere. People are pairing Manila with Kumo Augment. People are using Gigan 04. There's the amount of stuns that are going off right now is ridiculous. And the fact that G21 has to like do his whole spiel after getting stunned is insane. Completely unusable in like every sense of the word. And I've seen a few people use G21 as a leader this season. I'm like, are you out of your mind? Like, you're just asking to lose. 6 energy. He's getting stunned everywhere. If he didn't have to retarget like the way he does for his stun after getting stunned, he would be fine probably. But the fact that he has to go through that whole animation again is ridiculous. He's absolutely unusable this season. Unusable. What do you say? I've seen a single G21 leader and Kumo annihilated it. I haven't seen any G21s in ranked or leaders in ranked. I've seen G21s in ranked. But I've seen a ton of G21 leaders in the egg mode. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, are you insane? So, he's getting absolutely worked in every sense of the word this season. Every sense of the word. I mean, he's just unusable. But, so you say G21 might be the worst, then the Bomber might get a bit off, and the G21 will never get a hit off. I'm not going to put G21 at the bottom, because out of everything in the D tier, which actually, like, none of these things are ever going to land a hit, he might end up actually landing a hit. So that's why he's going to go to the top. But everything else here is pretty terrible. Bomber can't be hit since Bomber is marginally better. But Bomber's going to get bounced away by the Kamen Rider leader and never get a hit off, so it doesn't matter. If he can't be stunned, the Kamen Rider's going to keep him away long enough that he can't do anything. Ruin literally said 21 is unusable this season, and he is the highest level G21 that's not administration one, right? Ruins is like ridiculously high. Likewise, for near unusable units, is Godzilla 54, who's taking just an absolute fucking beating this season, man. This is a unit that I have mostly in the A tier. But I want to put him in C. Like, I don't know. Maybe in the B? Like, maybe mid-B? Because he's not really getting any shots off this season. The best that... And the speed... You're right, Kogan. And he did get a speed buff, but that's putting him in the line of danger. Or, like, in the line of fire faster. I've seen a few of them, and they just get worked. Because, okay, you can get Burning Godzilla or Kiryu for 2 energy... discount, but Godzilla 04 is pretty terrible this season. Ultima is okay this season. GD9 is like unusable this season. So like most of the transformations that he can give you this season are just not optimal, even for the lower cost. It's just not worth it, right? I almost want to put him in C tier or really low, like end like in the B tier, like somewhere like here. Like he himself isn't doing what he needs to do. He can tank a lot of hits, but he's pretty much going to get locked up. And most of the forms that he can become, you don't even want, right? So he's like, and he got that speed buff that's actively harming him. I'm not a fan of it. He's definitely dropped out of A tier for sure. I think maybe C tier might have been a little too harsh, but he's definitely not where he used to be. So he's getting put in the B tier for sure. Pretty much as long as Kumo Augment exists, he's fucked. And speaking of getting fucked by Kumo Augment, GD9 is ridiculous. G89 might be like here, somewhere in the B tier. He's just, I mean, I might even put G89 in the C tier this season. Like, he can't hit the air. But there's not that many air units being used. He's getting locked up by Kumo Augments. I mean, he can take a lot of punishment from the Kumo Augments, but he's getting locked up. Everything this season is stunning or getting a lot of attacks off. I don't think he's in the C tier. I think he's kind of towards maybe the bottom of the middle of B. It's just getting... He's getting so severely power crept. It's just getting... All the characters are getting more and more powerful with crazier abilities that just stops him from doing what he needs to do. Now, in the egg mode, GD9 is fantastic because he's like running that mode. But I think GD9 has been better this season. No comms to stop him. He can eventually run through Kumo. Yeah, he... You know what? You bring up also good points. He can also go through Earth, which is what I wanted to bring up. That's why I don't want to put him in C. It's because he's very good against Earth. He'll get stun locked by Kumo, but eventually he'll get through the Kumo. He can take a lot of punishment, but for 7 cost, it's a lot. I think we'll put him... I think he's actually having a better time this season than we give him. I'll put him kind of closer up here. He's doing better, specifically against Kumo, and the lack of air units especially is beneficial to him, but to some things like the Angel and stuff that explodes, Gigan, Kumo, he's going to get worked over. It just is what it is. 89 can SND, he's a smack girth. I think that's fair. I think he's like kind of towards the top of B. I don't think he's terrible. He has very good situations he can work in because of how the meta is and how much health he has. It's a saving grace. Godzilla Earth. Now, I want to put Godzilla Earth in the S+ tier, I think. I don't want to load the S+ tier, but I really do think this season that, like, this is probably the best grouping of characters. Maybe something like this. Earth is just an absolute fucking animal this season. This is the meta Earth was built for. He was built to counter the stun meta. There are stuns everywhere, and I get that it takes a lot to get Girth on the field. Kumo doesn't even affect him. The Common Rider leader ability does not affect him. He's going to rip through most units, right? You're not seeing a lot of Mothra Leos. You're not seeing a lot of Battras. There's not a lot that people are running that's just actively going to stop Earth. Maybe someone is running G89. Maybe someone is running an Anguirus. Maybe someone's running a Leo. But all the regular Earth counters, the Kamacuras, just are almost non-existent this season. I really do think that he is S+ this season. I really do. There's just... I think his kit in himself, I think he's S. But I think that I have to consider the fact that everyone else is running things that aren't generally considered counters to him is also a benefit to Earth. Maybe next season he'll be S tier, right? But this season is pretty good. He's been in the game long enough now. He's been in the game now for over a year. People have him at level 20 or higher. For the most part, if you've been playing long enough. He's immune to the two best units in the game, right? Or the best leader at the moment. Or one of the best leaders and the best unit, which is Kumo. He pairs really well with all these characters too. Like if you're running Kumo and Earth, you have like an unstoppable force right there. He's very difficult to deal with because not a lot of people are packing the heat necessary. So I think I feel confident putting him in the S+ tier. My heart says his kit is S. But the fact that just the way people's teams are shaped this season, he's S+. That's the fact that brings him into the S+. Because it's becoming incredibly harder to deal with him and Kumo, and both of them at the same time is really difficult. Terrestrius. You can't see him down here. We're here. We still got a lot to go through, you guys. We got a lot to go through. Terrestrius is... I'm going to keep him in the top of C. And I'm going to put Ultima in B tier. I think that he is, like, at a decent spot. I don't think, I really don't think Ultima is that bad. And you could come at me later and be like, I'm like an Ultima purist or elitist or whatever. The problem is getting Terrestrius up. And Terrestrius is not that great. But once you have Ultima up, he outranges Kumo, and he, like, absolutely fucking obliterates Kumo. Right? They have the same attack speed, and he can hit him from farther away and for more damage. Kumo can lock him up. You can lock up Ultima if the Kumo is played right. But if you are set with the intent of countering Kumo, he's going to rock them. He's going to absolutely destroy them. He's going to sit outside of Common Rider leader range. He sits out of most leader ranges, except for other Ultimas. So he's doing really well this season. Like, really well. I might even put him higher than Biollante, because Biollante is seeing almost no play this season, except on London. Biollante is still very good. Ultima is very good as well. Maybe I'll do like this. We'll figure it out, and I'll go back and rearrange. But he's very good. And Ultima is like, you have to, you said it right there, he's a must kill. You have to get him. This is the problem with Ultima is that he's a better leader than a unit right now. I think he's a fine leader. I think as a unit, the fact that you can outrange Kumo is huge. That's big. And he can take a lot of punishment. He does not have a little bit of health. He has a ton of health. So it's going to take Kumo a while to work through him. So he's got a lot going for him. I kind of want to put him higher up. He's not really being super utilized right now, but when he is, he's a menace. So I'm going to keep him in the A tier because he can outrange Kumo. Hetero Flying Form is fine. Hetero Flying Form is basically guaranteed Evo and just does his job. It's fine. Regular Hetero, though, is not in a good spot this season. I love Hetero. One of my first level 30 units was Hetero. She's got a lot of love for her. But I really don't think she's in that great of a spot right now. She's definitely doing better than most. With the acid pool is good. Her attack is fine, but she has a bug where sometimes she doesn't hit the second attack, and Kumo stunning her doesn't help with that bug. So she's not in a great spot. She can be fine with like Dementia Tide, Kumo, and her. I've seen a few people run her pretty successfully this season, so she's not doing terribly. She's in a really rough spot where there's like obviously better AoE options than her at the time. It is what it is. I like her a lot, but I think she's getting a little undervalued this season. Now, we're on Jet Jaguar. I almost want to put this form of Jet Jaguar higher up because of the lack of Battras and Space Godzillas running around this season. He's really one of the only reliable buffs you could put out, and I'll put him like here. But then this Jet Jaguar is still ass. And it's especially more ass because of Kumo Augment, right? So it's just like getting a little ridiculous. And he's literally almost unplayable as well, because he's gonna get so close for the chop, and Kumo Augment's just gonna like rip him up, and he's gonna push Kumo Augment away, and then Kumo Augment's gonna attack him. So he's in an even worse spot than he was before, which is insane. Likewise, someone that got hit hard with Kumo is Jet Jaguar Singular Point. Man is getting absolutely spit roasted by Kumo. Kumo removes the spear shield immediately. That's it. He removes the shield immediately and stuns this guy up, and it's over. It's over for him. He's gonna die instantly in a team fight. He can I don't know if he can one-on-one Kumo, but Kumo's gonna take the shields down instantly. Big issue, right? Piercing. We'll take the shield down instantly. Man, he's in a rough spot. He was already in the B tier last season, but he's a little lower now. The B tier is going to get full this season. I can already feel it because there's just so much going on in the meta right now. It's getting a little ridiculous. I love the Jet Jaguar. First of all, I love how both the Jet Jaguars look. Jet Jaguar 73 is my favorite model in the game. One of my favorites. He's just so colorful and vibrant compared to everything else. And I really have a soft spot for Single Point Jet Jaguar. I really liked the anime, and I really liked his event in the game and using him on my team for a really long time. And it sucks that he's at the state that he's in, but that's just what it is. Talking about getting spit roasted is the Kamacuras. Oh, we're losing it here. Hold on. Spit roasted is the Kamacuras, and they are getting absolutely shafted as well. Can I move this screen down just a little bit so you can see it? Yeah, let's do that. The Kamacuras Swarm, this is the Swarm. The Kamacuras Swarm is in the same boat as Destoroya Larva. Not the Destoroya Larva that comes from Destoroya, it's the regular larva, where Kumo Spread is just going to kill it. Earth is going to kill it. It's not really that big of a threat. 5 energy to get pretty much roasted by everything in the meta right now is no bueno. C tier. Regular Kamacuras still S tier. Regular Kamacuras are still S tier. These are phenomenal. 2 cost will pretty much body anything. You wait for your enemy Kumo, come close to your leader, you drop the Kamacuras, they're going to run through the Kumo in like seconds. They're going to run through Earth. If Earth is trying to hit your leader and you drop these guys right, Earth is going to have a hard time dealing with all 3 of them, especially if you can place them right so that they separate, like in a corner or something, and they'll run through Earth. They'll run through Ultraman when he lands on the field. They'll run through G89. They'll run through Gigan if Gigan's distracted, but otherwise no. Generally, they're just pretty good defense, and they still are. They can counter up a lot. It says Kumo shifted the entire meta. The game is basically just whoever's Kumo stun locks the enemy Kumo wins. That's pretty much what we're going through. We did Kumo Augment first, Arnav, and then we've been working our way down, basically from there. Kids. This season, I feel like there are some players that would like to see kids higher up, but hold on, read the chat. Cams and Tricky, I think Cams are devastated this season. I find Cams pretty bad. Kumo shreds them. We know the stamina one collab is scary. I don't think the Kamacuras are dead. I use them in my deck, and they're extremely viable on defense. I like them a lot, and they're really great tech option for defense, especially against Kumo. You don't want to use the Kamacuras in the midfield, obviously, but if the enemy Kumo is distracted on your leader or something, you can place Kamacuras and wipe a Kumo in like less than a second. It's all about placement. The Kamacuras aren't so much now being used for like just blocking Leos, blocking Gigans. You kind of have to be really creative with them. Pan said it correctly. I deployed them really creatively against them. So you got to get a little bit smarter with the Kamacuras this season, because Kumo will wipe them, but they'll also be an incredible asset on defense. And for 2 costs, you can't beat it, right? Yeah, Kumo is supposed to be used for... Kamacuras are supposed to be used against Kumo like you use them for Kiryu. Exactly. You wait for it to come to the leader, and then you use it as a counter. I'll take a few hits from Kumo and just kill it with the Kamacuras for 2. But the kids unit is... People want kids to be like in a really good playable spot, most of the people that are deploying kids can deploy it successfully, but really pretty much if you're like a whale or you've invested in it, because you want to have the fast teleport, because you want to teleport like the 4th Angel, Burning Godzilla, Kumo, Kamen Rider, so there are good use cases for it. I just don't think it's super potent, and I don't think it's in a spot that a lot of people would like. Maybe if the teleport was faster, it would be in a higher position, but the teleport is still a little slow, even at high levels. Would kids would be B for 3? I think kids would be B if they maybe made it so... What is the level 50 kids teleport time? Admin 1 has it. It's like 3 seconds. If it was like 2 seconds... You just need, like, Pan said it really well just there. You need extremely high levels on kids for it to be, like, remotely usable, and that's the biggest problem. Right? You have to invest so much into it to make it even, like, kind of usable. And that's just not going to be the case for most players. That's you know, speccing into a very specific strategy that's not, like, really reliable. So it would be lower. It would be higher up if it was cheaper, of course. But then it would be like meta, right? You would see it everywhere. But it's just in a rough state now. But it could be stronger. Speaking of in a rough state, I feel like I've said that a lot today. King Caesar, C tier. Fall from Grace. King Caesar used to be like pretty high. A tier, S tier. Just does what Leo does, but worse. But he's on ground, so he can be stopped by Gigan 04. He's going to get stopped by Kumo. Kamakurus. There are just too many counters to Kumo that work on pretty much everything, right? And King Caesar's going to get eaten alive. I don't think I've seen a single King Caesar touch me this season. He's going to get grabbed by Kumo. He's going to get grabbed by Gigan. People are trying to outrange with like Ultima or Super X. Or he's not going to do like really anything to Earth. He's going to get counterplayed by Leos. So he's just in a really rough spot. Caesar got way worse with Kumo and Kamen. At least Leo sometimes managed to hit Kumo with the rush. Exactly. So not great for him. See where it goes. And now we got the Ghidorahs. We got, you know what? We got Mecha King Ghidorah and regular King Ghidorah. I don't know where I want to put them. They were... Mecha King Ghidorah was A tier last season, and regular Ghidorah was B tier. I almost want to put them lower this season. Like... Ugh, man. So, I think I'm going to put... You know what? I think I'm going to do this. I think... Oh, God. Maybe... God, fucking... Maybe something like this. I think this is probably fair. Just so hard to use them. I mean, the AoE spread is good, and the guaranteed evolution is good, but damn. And then this one, too, suffers a ton this season. Like Kumo is really ripping up our A tier this season. Like, there are not as many characters in the A tier this season. Just purely because of the way Kumo is operating. You'd say C tier for Ghidorah is too high. Energy cost for them to get stun locked by Kumo and kicked away by Kamen Rider. Yeah, the Kamen Rider getting kicked away is not great. I mean, regular King Ghidorah is really good in the midfield where it's not going to get bodied by Kamen Rider leader. Kumo can be caught up in a team fight, but man, the Ghidorahs are in such a rough spot this season. Why isn't JJ73 an S++ tier? Because that spot was taken up by Bomber early. We're actually doing opposite day, so the D tier actually is the best units in the game, and the S+ are the worst. Poor 7 cost flyers every new season, other unit just absolutely shits on them. Yeah, that is the case, unfortunately. But we're at 2 Giga Chads right now. Kiryu is an absolute fucking machine this season. Pun intended. Kiryu and Kiryu Kaiman are absolutely out of control this season. Goated characters this season, okay? You can deploy them anywhere. Really good when you use a Kamen Rider leader ability and you just drop Kiryu on your enemies. Kiryu is bugged for some reason, and like the Kumo or the Kamen Rider leader ability just doesn't work on him sometimes. He breaks out of the stun super fast. I have a feeling it has something to do with his animation. I don't know, but it's insane. It's ridiculous. You can drop him anywhere. The damage from the missiles are good. The damage from the machine gun fire is good. I feel like I don't like Kiryu Kai as much as regular Kiryu, but both are insanely powerful. Really good ending a game. They're really good to get into a team fight, into a scrap with Kumo Augment. He's just really great. I almost want to make them S plus and S tier, but I don't want to pack the S plus section, right? But I'll leave them here like that. I think this is probably appropriate. Really, really good. Like, these, being able to deploy them everywhere is great. Even Mogera is in a better spot this season. The fact that you can deploy them anywhere is insane. So you can completely circumvent the Kiryu and Kiryu Kai being able to deploy anywhere. You can circumvent the Kumo stun, and then they'll take out Kumo pretty fast because their attack speed is pretty fast. Isn't Destoroya stronger than Mecha King Ghidorah? He is stronger by like 67 damage. It's just getting a lot harder to use him because his targeting, Destoroya's targeting is a lot worse than Mecha King Ghidorah. Mecha King Ghidorah kind of just shows up and starts blasting. Destoroya's got to get a little too close. He has like really weird tracking, so it's a lot harder to use him. He is stronger, marginally stronger, mathematically, but the tracking with the Kumo is just fucking him up. It's making it really difficult to run him. Lane, what's going on? How it be? Love to see that you're here. Thank you. We got the big monkey here this season, and he is probably in a worse spot than he is like ever has been in. I don't even want to put him in the B tier this season. I'm gonna move him straight to the C tier. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, Kong is getting absolutely shafted this season. Like, if you thought G89 was in a rough spot, Kong is in a worse one. Kong is just a worse G89. Like, I want to put him in the B tier, but he's just going to get locked up, and he's just a worse G89, and G89 is already not optimal. Wait, G21 in D tier, he's not that bad, he's solid B. You're absolutely out of your fucking mind. He's, like, unusable this season. With Kumo running around is ridiculous. G21 is in nothing higher than D. No A tier monkey? Hey, listen, he's A tier in my heart. But this season, he's in the C. Markalite, I feel like Markalite has kind of fallen off, maybe a little bit. I think Markalite is something like, God, I feel like Markalite is something like here. It can be used at a distance, but Kumo's gonna like accidentally hit Markalite. There's Kiryu's fucking everywhere. They're just gonna get dropped on him. Dimension Titus trains. It's just making anything that's stationary in a worse spot than before. And then speaking of in a worse space than before, the M-Bob base is fallen dramatically. It's gonna get rocked by pretty much everything, right? Okay. The oh, I just moved all that shit. I did not mean to move all that shit. I just wanted to see the viewer count. Whoopsies, sorry, my bad. The M-Balls are just gonna get rocked by Kumo Augment. The base is gonna get absolutely destroyed by Kiryu, by the trains, by the Dimension Tide. It's just not a great spot at the moment. I get it. C is for clapped, and under them is straight up. Get the C is for clapped, D is for dog shit, B is for beta, A is for all right, S is for super, and S plus is for Jesus Christ. Ugh. What do you think of the new monkey? Do you think he will stand a chance against Godzilla and Kong? Well, he'll have to be if he's gonna be the villain. So I feel like he'll be pretty cool. Listen, I like Kong. I'm a fan of the monkeys, so a new monkey is fine with me. Speaking of getting clapped, is the M-Baw Duo is also in a pretty terrible spot, somewhere like around here. Like, they're gonna get rocked by Kumo, by any explosions. It's just ridiculous. There's an ad. Yeah, I put ads on it. You know why? I'm trying to make money. I'm trying to make some money. So there's ads. There's mid-rolls. Haha. But yeah, man, this thing is getting absolutely fucking clapped this season. It's just not even usable. It's actually dead in the water. Mechagodzilla 93 is probably somewhere like down here. It's just fucking terrible. It's just, he's always just been like alright, and now with Kumo and everything else running around at the top, man, he's just not even worth running. I've seen a few people come up against me with them, and it's just like they get absolutely shredded. It's not even funny. And God, for Mega, I missed it. For Mega Gearus, I almost want to put Mega Gearus like somewhere like here. Mega Gearus is just getting like absolutely fucking ham-fisted this season too. Kumo's made the game unenjoyable. I agree, and I'll tell you all again. Let Toho know if you don't like Kumo in the state that he's in. I said it a million times. I have a whole video on it. I said it on Twitter. I said it in my Discord. Like, Kumo Augment is just, it's too powerful. I have a feeling that they're going to nerf it, and they don't really do nerfs anymore, but I have a feeling that they will end up trying to nerf him at some point. If you want to let Toho know about it, there's the link in the chat, and you can leave them a message and tell them that you would like Kumo to be nerfed because the game is unplayable and unfun. There you go. I did. I know a lot of other people have as well. Mega Gearus literally cannot hit Kamen Rider Lead. Yeah, I don't even know if I want to put her in B tier anymore, which is unfortunate. Like, the bottom of B, maybe she's in C this season. Like, she can hit Kamen Rider Leader. She can be absolutely ham-fisted by... Oh, D-. Whoops. Absolutely ham-fisted by Kumo. Everything else that was already good with dealing against her is just ripping her to shreds. It's not even funny. Like, so many units. Like, any unit that was kind of like subpar but somewhat usable last season is now almost virtually unusable. It's ridiculous. Manila. I feel like Manila is like somewhere down here in the B. I mean, he's like low-key a sleeper. He's not as good as he was, but he can retarget the Kumo, which is fine. A long-range stun is fine. Pairing him with the Kumo to give you like a mega stun is fine, but it's not optimal. I don't think he's in a terrible spot. Obviously, there's better stun options than Manila, but he's not insane. He's like okay. If single point Gearus ever gets added and he has a mirror effect, he would really screw up some meta units like Kumo stuff. I agree. I think Anguirus, what I said that Anguirus single points kit should be is that anything that's like a ranged attack, like Ultraman, Kumo, Ultima, Super X, he can reflect any range attacks, but you have to use like close range or mid range fighters like GD9 or Gigan to hit him, because in the show he got shot from such a close range that he couldn't counter it, but he could counter all the long range stuff, right? Notice something about the OP Kaiju. People don't like them because they're OP, but when they use it, they like it because it is OP. I think there's a difference between liking a unit because it's overpowered and then not liking Kumo Augment because you just make the game unfun. Watch out, Mechagodzilla be a unit that can stun AoE, but his only benefit is that he can outreach Kumo. Yeah. I honestly, guys, I am excited that we're going to get Mechagodzilla 74 at some point, but I'm not going to keep my hopes up that he's stun unit. And the way that Toho usually goes with their characters, either he's going to be insanely useful or absolute garbage. It just is what it is. But Manila's alright. He can outrange Kumo and stun and retarget him, which is fine, but it's not like amazing. Missiles are dog shit. Oh my god, now we're extending this lower again, so we're gonna make it smaller. The missiles are dog shit. They're just always have been pretty mid, and trains are just better. And now trains are actually way better this season because trains are really good with dealing against Kumo Augment. So it is what it is. Mogera. I almost want to put Mogera in the A tier. Either A or high B. I'll let you guys debate me on this one. Because you can place him anywhere. He has a 1.1 second attack speed, or is it 1.1, 1.2? He got a damage boost recently. He's in a good spot. You stun with the Kamen Rider leader. You can drop Mogera if you're not using Kiryu. Mogera can be used to deal with Kumo augments. He's pretty good. If you just drop him on the leader, then he's going to get jumped by the Kamakuras, of course. But if you use him in a team fight, he's good. You can stun with Kamen Rider and then drop Mogera. He's alright. I would like to know where you place Ultraman since it's a good counter to jump argument. Yeah, no, we'll get to Ultraman in a second. I took my Mogera to level 30 when they did the last unit upgrade sale, and I haven't regretted it. I really am liking him a lot this season. I think he's low end of A. The damage boost has helped him. I think he's in a pretty good spot though this season. Mothra's alright. Glasses on. My eyes are starting to hurt. The Mothras are in an alright spot. The Larva is largely in the C tier for just a pretty easy evolution. The slow is nice, but it is what it is. It's not really super impactful. This Mothra is somewhere here. I want to say, like, probably right here. She's got a fast attack, so she can get through Kumo pretty reliably. It just becomes a matter of, is the Kumo going to kill her? Is she going to die in a team fight? But her AoE is pretty solid. Her damage is pretty solid. She attacks pretty fast, so she is reliable, but she's not like as good as she was because of Kumo, because of Kamen Rider Leader. You notice a pattern here, right? With the Flyers. They're all a little bit worse this season. But it is what it is. Fortunately, she's still pretty good. She's a decent counter. So if Coomer Agent gets nerfed, what nerfs would he have? I think we'd have higher cost and slower attack speed. I don't think his attack speed is the problem. I think it's his cost. It's the fact that he's on the field so frequently is the problem. So if they made him a 5 cost, he would still be extremely viable, but not like as spammable as he is now. That's the problem. Now, this you can debate me on. I still think Mothra Leo is S tier. Last season I had him in S+. But I believe Mothra Leo is still in the S tier this season. I think he is one step out. He's almost in the A tier. But I am having such huge success with Leo this season that it's ridiculous. Because you can get Leo around Kumo. You can get Leo into Earths and just take out a huge chunk of health from the Earths. She's gonna take out, or he's gonna take out Ultraman. Gonna take out Gigans on the ground. Leo is gonna get a hit on Kamen Rider Leader. Leo's gonna hit once and then get hit away, but that's way more damage than most of the other Flyers are ever gonna be able to do to Kamen Rider Leader. Says Kumo is slightly more expensive than Manila with AoE. Are you talking about them? I consider Mothra better than Battra this season, especially once evolved, as if she does get her hit, she does the full damage despite the animation being canceled, even to the point where she dies. That's true, but Battra also gives a really good damage boost. So I still think Battra is viable for like the midfield and in a team fight, but really garbage against the leader. Mothra's just kind of always been struggling. Mothra Leo is still doing super well for me. I faced a lot of Kumos in the mega cards, and she has done very well. Leo took a hit, but still a major threat. Leo is just finally as a unit that can be put in her place. That's about it. Yeah, Leo is still really good. Leo is still very like good on the field. You're gonna rule the midfield and like your side of the field in the midfield game with Leo, but once it comes to like damaging the leader, unless you Kumo stun them or the Kumo leader is distracted, you're not really doing a ton. But the rush will still hit the Kamen Rider Leader, so it is what it is. I still believe Leo is S tier. You could argue me on that, but I do think that Leo is like one step to A. Like if nothing changed, like I think Leo could be A tier. But I'm having a lot of success with him, so I'm putting him in the S tier. I think it's fine. Erase the BC and all of the D tier. Yeah, Leo's still the best boy and handles Earth well. Yeah, Leo is handedly like winning me Earth battles. Him and the Kamakuras. Naranga is actually not in a terrible state at the moment. I would probably put Naranga somewhere like up here. Naranga is a little bit in a weaker position than Kumo is, and that he was last season, but Naranga being invisible and being able to retarget the Kumos is huge. So he's not meta. He was a lot more viable last season. I think he's still kind of viable this season, but I don't think he's bad. I think Naranga is pretty good at countering Kumo, pretty good at stopping Gigan, pretty good at stopping any flyers. If he didn't have the invisibility, he would be B tier, but the fact that he can have that invisibility and he gets the 1-up on other characters, that's pretty big. So that's where I'm placing Naranga. That's my say on the matter. I think he's fine. I think that stealth is really what's helping him. Naranga is decent HA unit, especially when paired with Kumo. Yeah, exactly. Psychic Course is S. If you outlevel your opponent, you win the match. Yeah, man, Psychic Cores is doing really well this season too to keep Kumo alive, to keep Earth alive. I don't think it's S. I think it's probably somewhere like up here. Probably like in the high A area range, maybe like this season. I don't think Psychic Chorus is S tier. I don't think it's necessary to win matches anymore. But keeping your leader alive, keeping Kumo alive, keeping Earth alive, your pushes when you do the Kamen Rider stun and then you drop Psychic Chorus is a ridiculous combo. But I think it's a worse version of Fire Rodan at the end of the day. I feel like Fire Rodan is just better value than the Psychic Choruses. But it's performing undeniably. Oh, sorry, I got a burp. Like really well this season, so I can't even hate on it. And normally Psychic Chorus places in the lower A tier for me lately, but this is just like up there, really good. Rodan 64 worse than Bomber. Rodan 64 actually is now in the D tier. This is like ridiculous that he's had to move down here, but it is what it is. He's going to get clapped by pretty much everything, and he's not going to even be able to hit the enemy leader. He already wasn't seeing a ton of play. Now it's just, he's dead. He's dead on arrival now. I see a Rodan, and I'm like, all right, you're probably a new player, or you're kind of dumb. So it is what it is. Unfortunately, that's just how it has to be. And he would probably be in the mid to low C if Kumo didn't exist and Kamen Rider Leader didn't exist, but unfortunately they do. So, it is what it is, and it's not a great spot for him. Shin Godzilla. Believe it or not, he's in a worse spot because there's no flyers, really. And his big thing is attacking flyers, right? So, man, God, these fucking characters are getting absolutely shafted left and right, man. It is insane, actually. I want to put... First of all, I think the Kamada-kun is probably in the C tier somewhere. It's probably like right here. Because it's pretty much guaranteed evolution and heals on the water. This one... God, I don't even know where to fucking put him. This one's a guaranteed evolution too. I'm going to put him like here. Right? I maybe group them together. Maybe he's like here or something. Maybe here. He's a guaranteed evolution, doesn't really do anything. But I will advocate for him because he's a guaranteed evolution. I said it a million times, so it is what it is. Actual Shin Godzilla. I want to put him in D tier so badly. But Noon's Shin Godzilla is level 30 and absolutely demolishes me whenever I see it. But for general case use, I really don't think he's that good anymore. Like, he's in a pretty rough spot. I mean, I'm going to put him here at the top of C. I got it, right? Maybe I'll put this one here. Because he's guaranteed of... I don't even know. He's a huge stat stick. But his whole deal is that he is just supposed to counter the air meta, right? And he never was really good at it, and now there's no air, so there's nothing for him to counter. I mean, she doesn't really have anything this season to do. Yeah, he doesn't have a reason. I mean, if you have him at a really high level like Noons, you can use him pretty well, but at that point, he's just a stat stick, and you might as well use Destroya instead. Because then at least with Destroya, when he dies, you get the bonus larva. Perfect game would have no units in D or S+, right? Bro, there always is going to be units in D and S+. There's always going to be characters that are better than others and worse than others. That's always going to happen. It's also all subjective, right? If I don't have to put anything in the D tier if I didn't want to. I don't have to put anything in the S tier if I didn't want to. Space Godzilla. Space Godzilla is also one of those ones getting absolutely fucking tossed around and deep fried this season, but I feel like he's in the A tier somewhere. Like this or something. Space Godzilla alone on the field is trash this season for sure, but just the fact that he can boost Kumo and Kumo counters Earth super well. The perfect game would be anything but whatever is GBL. Space Godzilla B, everyone's saying B. Yeah, he's in a really rough spot. I almost want to put him here or put him here. I feel like maybe I'll put him in the bottom of A. I mean, Kumo destroys the crystals instantly. Locks him up pretty fast. He's good with Earth. I mean, he's good, but the Kumo spread is killer on the crystals, and that's what you want with him, right? It's just... overall, it's such a rough spot for him this season. And I don't feel great putting some of these characters lower than I think they deserve to be, but it's just the fact that Kumo is so strong that he makes a lot of these units that were previously super impactful not really impactful at all. Super X got shafted so hard, and it's so deserved. Magen Kiryu getting put on roids sent it to its grave, which I'm very happy about. Super X really suffering the Kumo Augment. Yeah. So my argument for... First of all, I think Super X is somewhere in the B or the A range because it can outrange Kumo. But the fact of the matter is, Mogera and Kiryu are fucking everywhere demolishing this thing. I'm putting him like down here. Like Super X's day is come and gone at this point. It's not even a problem with Kumo Augment, right? Because you're going to get really good hits on Kamen Rider Leader. You're going to get really good hits on Kumo with the Super X. But goddamn, dude, everyone is running counters either in the air or Mogera and Kiryu, and it's just not going to happen. I mean, Super X is going to be in the field for like 3 seconds. Like, Super X is really good against Kumo and Kamen Rider Leader. Just gonna let you guys know that, and I think it's a very viable counter, and I think sniper decks are very viable counters to this meta. But everyone is running Kiryu or Mogera for specifically to fight off Kumo, and guess what? It can be applied to Super X as well, and so you can get cooked. Most 5+ flyers do something more than Super X. Yeah, but Super X's range in itself is what it's doing more than most units. It used to have the best range in the game. Now that title goes to Eva 08. It's suffering. It's still good against the if Mogera and Kiryu were not in such a good spot, then Super X would be probably in the A tier or the S tier because of the range. But because everyone's running the drop anywheres, it's not. Now, Ultraman is an S unit, easy S tier unit. I think it's out of all of the S tier units, I think it's the worst of the bunch. Not because he's bad. Ultraman is very good. Very viable character. But he used to be a lot better because they nerfed his damage by 10%, and that kind of sent him down a little spiral. He's immune to Kumo Augment. He's immune to Kamen Rider Stun. He has really decent range. He has piercing, and he has knockback when he lands. He can be on the ground. He can fly. He's all around a really good counter this season and everything, but he's on the lower end of S because... he's going to get bodied by Kiryu, by Leo, by Burning Godzilla. There are things that are going to just obliterate him. And they're everywhere. I like Ultraman a lot. I think that they should revert him back to how he originally was, and he would be in a lot better spot. You would see a lot more people running him. I think the reason that not a lot of people are running him is because they don't have the proper levels on him, and by the time I think a lot of people came to the game, his collab was probably over. Overall, I think Ultraman is in a really good spot right now. I wish he was a little bit more powerful. Yeah, exactly, Mr. Diggles. His health is a little bit low for him to be super meta, but so is Gigan's, right? Gigan 04 and Kumo. But he's really good. Trains don't take care of Kumo unless very much over-leveled, which due to new rentals probably won't happen, and all buildings are dead. Limo for Zetonics don't need to buff an S-tier unit. I don't think they need to buff Ultraman. I think they just need to revert him to what he was. That it is. The trains are probably in the A tier somewhere here this season, like in the top. They're really good for dealing with Kumo. They're not going to kill him, but it's good for just finishing him off. Energy base is good for taking that down. A lot of people are running Earth. So A lot of people are running the energy base. This is good to take care of the base. Kiryu leaders are everywhere. This is going to be good for absolute zero cannon. I think that it's probably maybe like somewhere like here. Maybe this is more accurate. Pretty decent. It's just in a good spot. It's just 3 costs to kill a lot of shit that you'll need to get killed, and it's going to be great in a team fight, especially with Kumo and Dimension Tide. So, Strange is in a really good spot this season. God, Zeton. I feel like Zeton is just... I don't think Zeton is... God, maybe Zeton is D2. Zeton is probably somewhere like down here. Maybe here. I feel like he's a better mark like his health, but it's just like... I believe truly to my core that one day Zeton will rise back up and actually be incredibly viable. Right? I feel like Zeton has the potential to be very good. He just doesn't do any damage. I feel like if Zeton did a lot more damage, he'd be in a better spot. Gotta be right now in one of the worst states in the game. It's just really, for the cost, you don't really get a lot done. He's basically glorified meat shield, or glorified building, you could say. So, desperately needs a nerf, or a buff. I'm sorry, desperately needs a buff. I like Zeton a lot. It desperately needs a buff. Mephilas is moving into the C tier because Kumo's absolutely fucking reaming him this season, somewhere like here. For Mephilas, something like down here. To put it in perspective, both Kumo Augment and Mephilas stun. Kumo Augment only stuns. They're both 3 stars. Kumo Augment is a 3 cost and only stuns with a massive AoE. Mephilas is a 6 cost who sometimes stuns, sometimes kicks. Or sometimes laser beams, sometimes stuns. Not great. Not even in Ancient Ruins is Mephilas good. If Kumo is going to stay a 3 cost, Mephilas needs to be a 2. No question about it. No ifs, ands, or buts. He just is. He's a decent unit. He's not terrible, but it's compared with Kumo, it's night and day. I mean, it's insane. Final Wars Godzilla. Probably the worst character in the game. I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. Final Wars Godzilla is also in a really rough spot this season. If you have him high leveled, then he's usable. I haven't seen one that I've struggled against at all this season. They pretty much die super quickly. The Kumos are going to stun him up a little bit. Yeah, you use him and he does for me. I'm not talking to you, Xfinity. I know you're hard on for Geo4, so I'm not listening to you. Final Wars attacks faster than any Godzilla, had to be above 89 for sure. At least this season. Yeah, G4 is a better version of G9. Yeah, I was about to say. He's not worse than 89. He's better. I was gonna place him probably somewhere up here anyway. I think he's here. And I think I would do this. Actually, I think I'll do this. I think this is probably better. He's high B for sure. He's not A. He's 7 cost, which is what I don't like the most. If Godzilla Final Wars was 6 or 7 cost, I'm sorry, 6 or 5 cost, he would be a lot better. I think that if you're going to play him for 7 cost, you shouldn't be surprised when you get rocked by like Gigan and for 7 cost, I can drop Gigan 04 and Kumo, and then you have to drop 2004. He's good, but I don't think he deserves to be 7 cost. I think he should be a 5. I think if Godzilla Final Wars was a 5 cost, he would be a high A character. Because it's not like he's bad. His stats are really good. His kit is pretty good with the knockback with the spin, and the laser beam is a really good combination. But not for 7. For 5, he would be in a lot better state. And I think that is the ideal buff to him. If I could change it, that's what I would make it. I would leave everything the same. I would make him 5. I think for 7, you're fooling yourself. Because for 7, like I said, I can drop Kumo and I can drop... for 7 cost, I can drop Kumo, I can drop Gigan, I could do Burning for 5, I could do Fire Rodan for 5, I could do Ultraman for 5, I could do Leo for 5, I could do Kiryu for 6. Like, I could do Bylante and Anguirus. I could do Godzilla, Ultima. I could do Mogera and, like, Kamacuras. So, I mean, they put Godzilla 4 over Heisei Rodan? No, I think Heisei Rodan is better. Heisei Rodan is a guaranteed evolution, and he gives a speed boost to your team, and he can hit Kumo Augment. He's good. He is good. Heisei Rodan is really good this season. Ava 1 getting fixed only got to be good for one season because a stun locking ranger just nullified her. She'll come back after Kumo falls off. I'm just worried. Just not with the 6 cost right now. We're all bad. F tier. I don't think she's F. Ava 1, I don't think is a D tier unit. I think that Ava 1 is probably somewhere like down here, maybe like here. I think that maybe that might even be too high. Maybe at the top is C. She got her targeting fixed a little bit, but she needs more work. I feel like if she's C, then this Jet Jaguar should be. I'm gonna put her like right here. I think this is probably a better spot. I think this is fine. She's in a rough spot with the stuns and the targeting. Maybe if she had more range or she had a better AI, it would help her a lot. But she's not incredibly viable right now. Her running attack animation is awful, especially when she's getting stunned. Yeah, it's just making her life difficult. Fourth Angel, though. Absolute Giga Chad Fourth Angel is in the S tier. That's not even a fucking question. The Fourth Angel is still extremely viable right now. It's ridiculous. Maybe in the regular S. Maybe like here, I think. Either here or here. I don't even know. I'm going to put him like right here. Ridiculous. The Fourth Angel Explosion is just phenomenal. The bomb meta still works really well in this current meta, so it's not like a huge problem. It's definitely not ideal. Could level 15 Fourth Angel be used for ranked? 110%. For sure. Ideally, yours is level 20, but I was using mine in ranked at 17, and it was kicking ass. It's just, the Explosion is extremely viable. Still is. The Explosion is still viable. The attack damage on him is crazy. He's just a good counter to pretty much everything. He's always a threat when he's on the field because you know he's going to explode for a lot of damage. It's not like Burning Godzilla where if I kill Burning Godzilla early, I don't really have to worry about the explosion because I know it's not going to do a ton of damage. This motherfucker's going to just nuke you no matter how long he's been on the board. He's an easy S+ character this season. It's no doubt in my mind. Also, the explosion range can be misleading. I agree. The explosion range can be misleading. Sometimes it'll hit Kumo. Sometimes it won't. It just depends on how you play him. But he's incredibly good against Earth, against anything that's not Kumo. I mean, he's just good all around. He's just a great tank and just kills everything when he dies. Mechagodzilla 21 when 3 bugs and an arachnid appear death. I guess it was working. Yeah, okay. So you thought Mechagodzilla 21 was in a good spot? Oh, God. I almost want to put Mechagodzilla in the D tier, bro. Like this. Like, he has to get so close to attack this season that he's just going to get absolutely locked up by Kumo. It's not even an issue of his attack. It's a matter of that he has to get so close, he's just going to get locked up. It's like, I'll let Jaden speak on this, because Jaden has, I think, the highest... We could do... Here, we'll do this. I see your thing, Jaden. S++. Add row above. Oh, this is S+. This is, you just say Kumo. There you go. That's pretty good. Yeah, Mechagodzilla 21's health is his only saving grace. I agree. He has to get so close to attack, and by the time he does, he's getting locked up. He's getting eaten alive by everything else in the field. It's not even funny. It's just not even funny. GMK is in a pretty rough spot this season. I want to say he's like here. He is still really good. The on-spawn and on-death effects are massive this season. Massive this season. GMK was never good at bad units, but sad to see him get even worse due to Como. He is in a rough spot because while his attack is still really strong and his AoE is still strong and his on-death and his on-spawn effects are really good, he's getting locked up really crazy. It's almost not even a point to running him at the moment. If yours is a high enough level, like mine is 15. If yours is like 15 to 20, you'll probably be fine. He'll do really well. He's not going to get 100% locked up, but he is pretty slow. He's this. I think he's the same attack speed as Kumo. I think they both are 3.2 seconds. So he is really good. But Kumo is just making him very difficult to use. GMK seems to sometimes outspeed Kumo, and other times he gets locked. Yeah, it's really inconsistent with his targeting, or with I think it has to do with the animation. Maybe, I don't know what it is. Sometimes he gets the attacks off, sometimes he doesn't. It's very inconsistent. He's going into the A tier easy, probably somewhere around here. He's just not as reliable as he used to be, which is unfortunate. I feel like I kind of almost want to put him here, somewhere like here, probably. I think it's fair. The 10th Angel, I think, oh god damn, man, the 10th Angel is not in a good spot either. I think the 10th Angel is probably somewhere like down here. Zoro's bomb, death bomb can't ever hit the enemy leader, and bombs are rare. There's obviously boom, B tier, tops, the animation scene. Yeah, he was higher up when the bomb squad was really powerful. The only thing he really has going for him right now is his range. His explosion isn't very strong, so it's not really doing a ton of damage. His range is really good. But Kumo's going to just absolutely destroy. This list is long. Well, there's more characters to get through, so we're not done yet. And the lists are only going to get longer the more characters to get added. Man, Setsuch just absolutely fucking reamed this season. It's not even funny. It's really not even funny. He just gets locked up, and his explosion's not that great. His range is good, so if you can outrange the Kumo and play him at an angle, you're fine, but it's whatever. I've never seen Ava always literally non-existent, although I guess it's precious Kumo users. So the thing also about the 10th Angel and the Evangelion units is you all have to remember that they came out last month. They came out last month. So people still have them relatively low. I don't have any of them higher than 10. I mean, I have him at like 11 or 12. But like, I have her at 2 or 3. I have her at 8. I have her at 8 or 9. And then I have Kamen Rider like 8 or 9 too, right? So they're brand new. So I'm not expecting the Evangelion units to really take the meta by storm anytime soon. I gotta change the color for this tier. It's bugging me. I'm making blue. Kumo. Unit 8. I like Unit 8 a lot, honestly. I think she's pretty good. She does put a lot of pressure, like you said, on the on Kumo players because she is outranging most characters in the game. I'm gonna put her somewhere like here. I think she's like right now just in a little bit of a worse spot than Ultima, but if you have her at a really usable level, like Administration 1, I've seen how his plays. She's very good. The sniping from long range is great. Her pistol is great. She's in a good spot. It's just that no one really has the levels on her that you would need to run her, except for like some whales. So I think she's fine. I think she's in a good spot. The range is really solid this season. Her targeting is a little weird. The range is super helpful. It's just no one has the levels on her. So if I were just forgetting the levels, use her in Fix. She's really good in Fix, right? So forget the levels. I'm putting her in the A tier. Be pretty solid. Unit 0 is a insane monster, by the way. Unit 0 is great. Unit 0 is great. I want to put her like up here. She was S last season. You say Unit 0 is better this season because since Kumo triggers her shield in the midfield. Her shield is not health gated. Her shield comes out after a certain amount of time has passed and she's on the field. Kumo doesn't trigger the shield. You still think she's S? Everyone still thinks she's in the S tier? I could put her in the S tier. I haven't really seen too many of them, so I was gonna put her in the A. But I see a lot of love for her in the S. I could, you know what? We could compromise and do top of A. Or like this. I think this is a good spot. She's definitely not unusable. Her shield is phenomenal. Blocking 70% of damage is always going to be good no matter what. It's the way better version of Jet Jaguar. Yeah, Kumo gets her shield up faster by delaying her. That is true. I think levels are the reason she hasn't shown up much. That's true. I also believe it's the levels why she hasn't shown up much. She'll be back with a vengeance for sure. Basically, the explosion that she does is really solid. Her running, it doesn't even matter if she makes it to the leader or not. The fact that she explodes on death is wild. You guys keep saying you can't wait for the season to end, but Kumo's not going anywhere until it's nerfed. This is true. But I think people are waiting for the season. I think more people are saying, like, I'm so excited for the season to end so I can see the buffs and the nerfs to see if Kumo gets changed. I think it's probably more appropriate. I don't know if she's an S. I haven't seen her at all in the King of the Monsters Plus tier. I've seen her a few times in King of the Monsters Plus, but like they said in the chat, it's really just level dependent on her, where people just don't have the appropriate levels at the moment, but those who do are finding a lot of success. I think she'll be back in the next month or two. All right, Unit 2. We're at the very end here, folks. We're almost done. Unit 2 is in also not an amazing spot at the moment. I think her regular form is pretty okay. I think her beast form is just all right. I want to say she's like somewhere around here. She's just like, her regular form is just attacking, and then it does an evolution maybe. It's not a guaranteed. It is what it is. It's I'm really just lacking the words to describe her specifically, but the beast I think is all right. The beast is somewhere like around here in the mid game. I even think like that. Not really because of how strong she is. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, everything in the B tier is like not great this season, right? Everything that's good this season, A and up. But the stun is fine. She can get the 1-up on Kumo because she can stun from a way long distance away. But she already has terrible targeting. I might even put her lower because she has really terrible targeting. And she can pounce on Kumo from far away and take the stun and the aggro. But her targeting is already dog shit. And so Kumo's are going to make it even worse. And it makes it really difficult to run her. She's not super great, but she is definitely a counter to Kumo. But there's no reason that you need to counter a 3 cost with a 6. So this is what it is. Beast with fixed targeting would be a menace. Not so much. Now, not so much. Yeah, I agree. If her targeting was fixed, she would be absolutely fucking ridiculous. It would be crazy. Final boy of the night, you guys. Shin Kamen Rider. Shin Kamen Rider. I did not mean to place him in the D tier. That is just where my mouse slipped. Kamen Rider is better than Gigan 4 as a damage dealer, but because of the leader, he will never see play until nerfs are dished out. Gigan 4 still has shines due to protecting Kumo, and is great. It sees 0 play. No, Kamen Rider is really good. Kamen Rider is really good. I didn't mean to put him in the S tier either. Kamen Rider is like down here somewhere. Kamen Rider. Oh, Smash Pass. I still gotta do the Smasher Pass stream still. You're right. I gotta get that done. But Kamen Rider is good. Like, Kamen Rider is really good on the field. It's just he's such a good leader that it comes to the point of you're just going to run him as leader instead. But it's not the same as Battra, where Battra is really good on the field and is a dog shit leader. Kamen Rider is really good on the field and really good as a leader. It's the same situation that Ultima is in, that Kiryu is in. I'm not going to lie, Evo 2 is easily your biggest disappointment of a unit, at least for the pre-Evo, because she's slow and attacks even slower. She just slow and relies on adaptation from the snow. Kumo Matthias cost seems swapped. Yeah, exactly. I feel like they should swap the cost for them. Or bring Matthias to a 2. I think Matthias for 2 cost would be crazy. He'd be everywhere. But Kamen Rider is an easy top of A tier, all borderline S tier. Dropping Kamen Rider down and getting that knockback is good. The motorcycle animation is cool. Leo is not S tier this season. Sorry, you're wrong. You're just wrong. It is 100% S tier this season. No doubt. No doubt. Tanky unit, can travel fast and do the big hits, can hit Kamen Rider leader. He's S tier for sure still. I see Zeruya as a D tier. He's nowhere near as tanky as Sasha. His explosions, trash, damage is mid. The only forgiving is the range. You should buff him in Matthias somewhat. Yeah, I put him at the top of C because of the range, and he's just way better than all these guys, but I don't think he's worse than these guys. But Kamen Rider is good, man. Kamen Rider, the knockback on spawn is great. He's a little slow, but he's got a fast attack. He does a lot of fucking damage. He hits twice. He's really good, and he does the knockback against flyers when he's on the field. How is Ava 08 and Destoroya A tier? Oh, my friend, that's the true meta game. And Space is B. Space Godzilla is getting rocked by pretty much everything this season. He's not that great this season. GMK is still very good this season, being in my team all month. Yeah. where is he? GMK is still phenomenal as well. GMK's S for you. I want to put GMK higher, but I'm not really seeing a lot of success with him, so I'm putting him in the middle of A. I think he's fine when he works really well, but when he doesn't work, he doesn't work. Man, Kamen Rider being able to deploy with the big, that big knockback in the beginning, 2 punches, and the AoE, and not the AoE, I'm sorry, the knockback against aerial units is just phenomenal. Like, across the board, man, it's really good. He's Gigan without the grapple. He's good, but Gigan Final Wars is better. Not by much, though, because Kamen has much better health and hits the air. Yeah, I agree. The fact that Gigan is Gigan is faster and can grapple and lock on and, like, fuck up the Kumo and stuff like that, he's great. He's a lot more reliable than Kamen Rider is. But Kamen Rider has a lot going for him as well. And for 4 costs is phenomenal. Maybe they would make a fantastic mumble rapper. Listen, send me some lyrics. We'll see what I can do. But I think this is going to be the list. I'm willing to open up a debate with you if you guys think I should change the positions of any characters. But I think that this is probably fine. Gigan with anti-air would be brutal, perhaps. For modified Gigan, he'll get the Gigerium cluster. Also check GBL General opposed to the Melee's corner tier list. I'll check that after the stream when I'm walking the dog or something. But I think that this is probably the tier list that I'm going to settle on. I think that this looks fine. I feel like the S plus tier might be a little cramped. I don't know who I would move out of it. Maybe Dimension Tide. Maybe the 4th Angel. S tier I think is pretty good. I still feel like Kiryu Kai is a little bit worse than Kiryu, but I think at the same time he's better. I think that this is probably fine. Maybe 4th Angel going to S tier. Put Bomber its own tier, gives the enemy an advantage tier. I think that this is good. I think that this season, anything in the B to the D tier is kind of unusable. I think you can make use cases for characters like Godzilla 04 or Space Godzilla or King Ghidorah or Super X, but I think at the end of the game they're just not competing on the same level that some of the units in the A tier is. I think in the A tier the units that I would take out if I wanted to do this again would probably be Destoroya and Unit 8. I put Unit 8 there because she can outrange Kumo, she's going to outrange Super X, she's going to outrange the Kamen Rider leader for a little bit. Especially in overtime. She's wicked in overtime. But she's a little expensive. And Destoroya because that on death, there's not a ton of AoEs running around. The larvae are pretty potent if you have them at a high level, but no one is using them, so no one really knows, except for the few people that are using them. You say Geo4 should be better than Space. He doesn't get locked up dirty like that. Yeah, but Space gives the attack boost, which is still really good. I'm so sad that Kumo's just because he made Space Godzilla basically irrelevant, one of your favorite kaiju designs ever. Yeah. Kumo Augment made so many characters irrelevant, and this entire tier list has shifted from what it was last season because of Kumo Augment. What characters remain in the same spots from this season to last? The only character in the S plus tier from last season is 4th Angel, and an S tier, Burning is an S still. This is an S still, and actually this has moved up. This moved up. He moved up. He moved down. I mean, it all, like, literally this whole section here, Kumo through A, is basically, will it beat Kumo? And everything from B and lower is, will it not beat Kumo? Space God's attack boost is irrelevant if Kumo breaks his crystals. Meanwhile, Geo4 hits just as hard. I think Space wouldn't be better than... First of all, Space Godzilla... I'm not going to debate you on this because you're just I know you're just a Godzilla 4 fanatic. But Space Godzilla is going to give you a damage boost as long as those crystals are up, and it's cheaper than Godzilla 04. Godzilla 04 is more expensive, and sometimes he doesn't know what attack he wants to do. I do not believe Godzilla 04 is better than Space Godzilla, but I will give you that Godzilla 4 is not terrible. But he's not as good as Space Godzilla. I think Space Godzilla just does a lot more for a little bit less. A serious note, this is a good list, but Manila will find you in your sleeper. I love Manila. He's my first level 30 character. Kumo and GMK paired can ravage almost literally anything I've played in fair matches. Using Kamen Rider's ability makes it even more devastating. Yeah, I mean, GMK is still in a good spot. Like, he's really good still. But Kumo just makes him harder to use. Not gonna lie, Geo4 doesn't Tanuki tail when it feels like he should. Space Godzilla definitely gives more bang for your buck. I agree. I feel like I have fought a decent amount of Godzilla 04s this season, and I'm pretty sure it's because Zaffinity, you're just talking about him in my Discord and people are using them. But every time I see one, I roll them because they just don't know what they want to do. So Godzilla's still killer support unit, put him behind Kumo and Earth, and he's deadly as fuck. Yeah, I agree. I agree that with the right combo, he's really good, but now on his own against Kumo, he's just getting ridiculously shit on. What's your lowest level battle piece? Probably... My lowest level battle piece, I honestly think, is Godzilla 2004. I have only 3 pieces for him. Which unit do you think is the most wasted potential? Zeton maybe is the most wasted potential of a character in this. I feel like Destoroya also is wasted potential. Shin Godzilla is wasted potential. Evangelion Unit 2 is wasted, I believe. Jet Jaguar 73 is wasted. Mechagodzilla 21 is wasted. Expectations on Showa Mechagodzilla? None. I have no expectations for any characters that come into this game. The only expectations I have is they're either going to be dog shit or broken. That's it. That's literally it. So... I feel like Destroy's potential is wasted because I don't think he should have been a 3-stage evolution. I think it should have just been Destoroya. I think all the Destroy forms should have been separate, or at the very least, it should have just gone from the aggregate straight to this. They should have just foregone the flying form in its totality. But this is the list, you guys. This is what I got for you. So I'm going to wrap it up. I'll post this in the Discord in the meta channel, and I'll pin it. I think I like this list a lot. I feel like there might be a few things I would change, and there are a few things that I would be willing to debate you on and compromise with. But I think overall this is pretty good. We'll see in the next day or two what the oh, you forgot to ask, why is this Destoroya always in the event shop? That's this thing. He's an event character. It's the only place you can get him. That's just how they made it. But the new season starts on the night of the... It starts on the 28th. This season lasts until the 27th. So either... Oh, my mic turned off. Either tomorrow or the next day, on the 25th or the 26th, we're going to see the balance adjustments. Getting a balance adjustments at some point the next day or two. So if Kumo's not nerfed there, I think it's going to be a riot. But... like I said, I'll put the link back in the chat. If you want to let Toho know that you want Kumo to be nerfed, you let them know there. Are we going to do a Melee's Corner tier list? No, I'm not going to. I have no interest in doing a Melee's Corner tier list. But yeah, this is the list that I made. I will pin it in the meta section of the Discord, and that's all I got. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye. I still gotta change this first anniversary thing. I don't know why I still have it here. I gotta get a better Be Right Back thing.